There is also Copa America happening at the same time, which is going to feature North American squads again, including Canada, and it's being played in the U.S.
Pause, please.
Yep.
No way. No way. The Canada jersey, the triple.
Come on, let's go!
Welcome to Circles Off, episode number 158, right here, part of the Hammer Betting Network and presented by Pinnacle Sportsbook. I am Rob Pizzola, joined by Johnny from betstamp. What's going on?
Just heard the devastating news. Chestnut is out.
Dude, I was about to just break that to you. So obviously people, when they see this, they're gonna know that we've recorded this in advance, which is no secret. We tell people all the time we do record this in advance. But
Chestnut out.
Chestnut out. People have really turned on this guy very quickly. Why? Like, he just took more money. This happens in life all the time.
But did he take more money and he's still in an eating contest just for somebody else, or he just took money to rep the brand?
No, so basically, like, Impossible, he was offered a 4-year, $1.2 million deal by Nathan's hot dog eating competition. They're like, basically, you turn up for the next 4 years, you can make $1.2 million. He declined that in favor of this Impossible Foods vegan whatever.
Plant-based meat?
Yeah.
Oh, he's done. He's done. Chestnut sold out. Listen, I didn't know it was that.
Yes.
Is he now on Impossible Meat hot dogs? He sold out. Chestnut's, he's done.
I think
Matt Stoney,
he might have sold
all the marbles.
He might have sold out.
If it was for a competing hot dog brand, is he vegan now?
I don't know if he's vegan or not.
Chestnuts.
Listen, I think Impossible Foods went to the guy and said, here's, I mean, maybe these details will break in the next few days.
It said that they gave him a 4-year, $1.2 million.
It was misreported.
That was misreported?
Some reporter didn't even read, like, the New York Times.
So he got way more money from these guys.
Apparently, yeah, he got way more.
But to do what?
Just to be a rep of the Impossible Foods brand.
Oh, so he doesn't even go in contests anymore. He's retired, basically.
I mean, this sounds like an amazing
Chestnut. That's all. You know what? You had to do what you had to do.
Because Impossible is making like these like hot dogs now, meat from plants, right? So he's still eating hot dogs. It's just like a meat from plants, but whatever. Like there's a lot of vitriol for Joey Chestnut, but listen. He's getting paid a lot of money to do this. It's not like he's supporting one of the world's worst causes.
They pay him to go, though. So, yeah but he took another deal. Listen, it is what it is. You do what you do, but I hope he supports Impossible Foods.
Yeah, so do I.
I hope he supports it, and that's why he took the thing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, if he actually is an Impossible Foods advocate,
yes,
rather than just taking the money.
I'm not going to say whether I'm an Impossible Foods advocate or not, but it's pretty obvious to guess.
Well, it's very obvious over here that we are advocates for Pinnacle Sportsbook. We don't just take the money because they offer us the money. We're advocates of Pinnacle. We bet there. They give us great limits, and you should do the exact same thing. We have a soccer episode coming up today with a great soccer guest. But if you're looking to bet Euro 2024, Copa America, first and foremost, least thing you can do is line shop. It's not that hard. Find spots with different prices. And what you're going to find in pretty much every market for each of these soccer tournaments is that Pinnacle has a great price relative to the competition. So don't be a stupid idiot when you're betting soccer in the next month. And bet at Pinnacle Sportsbook, in business for the past 25 years.
That's a good way to throw to it. I was actually I was looking up when Chestnut started. Mm-hmm. It appears it was 2007.
Yeah.
So
usually
I would have probably pivoted to, if Chestnut's out, then what's going to happen? There's probably going to be an over-under of 25, similar to the amount of business years Pinnacle's been. We're trying to get better on these. There's something it's hit and miss.
Usually I wait for you to toss the law ball. But by the way, before we get into it this week with our guest, I do got to say, I spent like 20 minutes laughing yesterday at Buster Only getting hacked. I don't know if you saw it.
I did not see that.
Okay.
What happened?
Buster Only got hacked and by some guy who said, I swear to you, I don't even know who I hacked. Who is this Buster? One person responds, can you just tweet that I hate Mets? And he responded, I hate Mets. But then he also tweeted something that I think a lot of people thought was serious right afterwards, which was Shohei Ohtani has received a lifetime ban from baseball and will receive like some sort of life sentence in prison or something along those, and it just started making the rounds. I immediately knew it was fake. But listen, set good passwords, people. I mean, I'm not going to save this for the Plus EV segment at some other point, but at this point, you're old enough to not just add an exclamation point at the end of your password so that it passes the character test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 exclamation point. It's not going to cut it in 2024. Just pick a random, like use a password manager. I'm not even going to advocate for one out there because they don't pay me to, but you can use lots of tools out there to store your passwords in a safe way. Don't be an idiot. This is the second time in the first 5 minutes of the show I'm going to tell you not to be a stupid idiot. Do not set stupid passwords. If I get hacked one day on Twitter, it will be the most embarrassing day of my life. My password is like 30 random characters, and it can't happen. If it happens, somebody's like, what do you think this is going to... It might not be 30. It could be 28. It could be 33. I don't exactly know. I'm not trying to give away information here, but set good passwords. Set good passwords. Anyways, on to this week's episode. Our guest this week on Circles Off is a Canadian-based bettor out of Ottawa. He was previously part of our content team here at the Hammer for the 2022 World Cup, but more importantly, he spent 15 years working with a very large European betting group, including some crossover with Tony Bloom and Star Lizard. For the past several years as well, he's been a senior trader at an offshore sportsbook. You can follow him on Twitter at DrunkenGoon. Adrian joins us here on Circles Off. Adrian, how are things?
Thanks for having me. Things are great. We got Euros, we got Copa America, we got Olympics. Fun summer.
We'd be amiss if we didn't mention the Pinnacle sweater. Is that the 20-year anniversary sweater?
It is, and I earned it on Twitter because they don't give these away.
They sure don't. People are messaging us all the time. We know that there's not a lot of Pinnacle giveaways right now, but that's a classic one, yeah. 20 years, so 5 years ago.
Yeah, we got to get the Penny Circles Off collab merch restocked, and then we'll be able to put that back on the website, guys. Stay tuned. Next couple
the
weeks.
collab merch, the X is coming. Before we get into it, actually, got to ask you because I'm sure people will want to know why your Twitter handle is DrunkenGoon.
That's a good question. It was given to me while in university because
nice.
I got loaded quite often back in Guelph.
Oh, you went to Guelph?
I went to Waterloo, but I lived in Guelph at the time, so
got it.
I got that moniker and it stuck.
I spent some years of my life in Guelph while my now wife was in veterinary college. Played some underground poker games in there back in the day. I'm very fond memories of Guelph, except the town does smell like horse manure, unfortunately.
At a certain pool hall?
Yeah.
In the basement?
Yeah. Let's you may know exactly where I was playing those poker games. Yes.
I don't know what these guys are talking about. Adrian, tell us a bit about your background, how you got involved in the betting space. I know it's an interesting story. Floor is yours.
All right. So I grew up in Romania, moved to Canada when I was 17, and I started betting early, really early, before it was legal. Back in Romania, you could play the state lottery, which was a sheet of 13 games. You take your picks and hope you win. 11 gets you something, 12 gets you something more, and 13 is a car or something along those lines. So they didn't care how old you were when you placed the bet. They only cared when you cashed it. So grade 4, I started betting, and funny story, grade 7, I was betting with a friend from school, and we hit it big.
In grade 7?
It was one of those, grade 7, yeah. It was one of those European rounds where all the favorites came in. So we're sitting in school in an afternoon school session, and the scores are rolling in, and they're like 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, 10-1. And by the time the night was over, we're 12-1. And of course, we're grade 7, we're bragging to everybody. The problem was that we lived in a shady neighborhood full of gypsies. Word got out that we have a winning ticket. So by the time we got out of school, some people were waiting for us, looking for the ticket. So we took a pretty good beating. I had the ticket inside the lining of my jacket, and managed to get out of there with a few bruises.
Wow!
Of course, we're winners now. We hit 12 out of 13. You have to wait a couple of days for the prizes to be settled. We can't cash it out, so I give it to my grandfather. He goes out and then cashes it, and it's $35. Everybody hit it. It was one of those favorites weeks. So we took a beating, and we made $17 each. It was once you hit it big, you're stuck in this industry. So we're stuck for life.
That's actually hilarious. It's very reminiscent for those who are in Ontario, whoever played pro line pools. They probably have similar stories on the NFL where they go perfect over a course of a week, but they picked all the favorites on their ticket, and then they end up splitting the prize pool with thousands of people. And when it's all said and done, it's a few $100 that they ended up making, and they thought it was going to be life-changing money. So it's a very funny and interesting story. By the way, when you said that the scores started coming in, so presumably this is like, I don't know, 35 years ago or whatever. How
40. On the radio.
So the radio, you're just listening to the radio in class, just waiting for scores.
Pretty much, yeah. So basically, back then, European Cups were played just 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday, and they were playing all of them, Champions League or Champions Cup, Cup Winners' Cup, and UEFA Cup. They were playing basically at the same time. They were all afternoon games because in the spring, we're in school from 2 to 7 at night, something like that. And we're catching up. These are actually like the previous day's scores kind of thing.
Yeah, that's quite a swing of emotions to go to hit the 12 out of 13, then get beat up after school, but you keep that ticket and you get out of it unscathed.
How much did you think it was going to be?
Oh, big dreams, right? We didn't think it was a car because that was 13 out of 13, but I thought, we're 50 grand, whatever, we're set for life type of thing for 13-year-olds. We thought it was a pretty big score.
Yeah, for sure.
The illusions of grandeur.
Yes. So that was soccer betting. Presumably, I know I gave you the intro off the top. I'm aware of you through what was previously the Right Angle Sports Discord, where you often participated in the soccer chat. And at one point, I had reached out to another fellow bettor and said, hey, like this DrunkenGoon guy, is he any good at soccer? And they were like, I would tail his plays if he posted anything in there. And I started to really just, you didn't know about me, but I knew about you over that time. But I've only known you as a soccer bettor. Where did the interest initially come from in soccer betting? And has it just been soccer betting for the past 40 years, or has there been other stuff mixed in between?
Yeah, so I've been a fan of soccer all my life. I played, I still play, I ref, my kids play, they both ref. I'm on the board. I was on the board for a local club. Shout out to Gloucester Dragons, where Jonathan David got his start.
Yeah.
And I'm on the district board as well here. Basically, my life is 24/7 soccer when my wife allows it. But once I came to Canada, hockey was the main sport. Soccer on TV was basically a joke. You had one game a week that was pre-recorded from 2 weeks before. This is back in 1990. So I took an interest in hockey as well. And when I went to university at Waterloo back in the early 90s, Proline came along.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in the co-op program, but I ended up making more money betting hockey on Proline than during my co-op job. So hockey became the focus for a while. And,
okay. I'm just gonna cut you off there. So I'm very interested in how you made money on Proline at that time. So I was still very young in the early 90s. I knew what Proline was because my dad used to occasionally play tickets and stuff like that. But most of the stories you hear, again, and we've talked about this several times on the show before, but most of the stories you hear about early bettors is that their first foray into betting was not a good one. So when you say you won hockey early, especially because you're playing parlays at that time through Proline, was it like some sort of origination that you were doing on your part? Was it some sort of understanding what the true odds should be based off of like another market maker or something like that? How were you able to successfully start winning?
So the edge there was that they would publish the odds for the whole week on Thursday, I believe. And when you're betting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you had additional information from the past 4 days that the odds would never change. So they were locked in for the week. So that made it easy pickings in those last few days of the week.
The good old days, man.
Those are the good old days. They could not recognize that kind of edges.
Oh, of course. I mean, everyone who bet Proline back in the day, this is like before I was born though, so obviously couldn't take advantage of it. Would have loved to. Guys like Zach and I would have loved to take advantage of this. Can't. I heard they used to do baseball games too for the series, so they just post the whole series, game 1, game 2, game 3, all on the same day, and then by the time game 3 came, you don't know what guys are playing.
Pitching change.
Guys got injured. But fixed odds.
But you know the sad part about this?
They still made literally
they were still raking in money, like tons of money, or else they would have never been offering these things beforehand. Yeah, that's what the sad part is. Like in an environment where you literally like could not even lose if you tried. If you had any idea what you were doing, there was actually so many people still losing.
That was the crazy part. That is actually the crazy part. But
I got a crazier one. I don't know if you guys know about the Christmas incident.
I'd love to hear about it.
Soccer on Pro and Boxing Day. England lineup of games, they usually start 10 o'clock in the morning, but on Boxing Day, they started all their games early. The odds stayed up until the games were final. Everybody won on Pro Line that day.
Classic pass posting.
Did they pay him out?
They paid, I believe they paid, and then at some point they stopped paying. So you had to be first to the window.
They probably didn't know what was going on, and people just, because you can cash your tickets right after the game. There's probably a few hour window where you just people just went and cashed, and there's nothing they can do. There's no recourse at that point.
That's crazy.
You literally just paid out cash. Yeah, I mean, listen, I had an edge like that in horse racing once on a PPH where daylight savings had happened already, and I knew the results of the races, but I was scared to win too much because I had to go collect this money from a guy, and I didn't want to get beat up. But I was also, wanted to maximize as much as I could. That is a different story, though.
I was out of the country at the time, so I did not cash in on that one.
Oh man, what a bad worst vacation you've ever taken.
Any other big ones from back in the day, like early '90s when you were first getting started?
No, it hit the Kings to win the cup at 28-1 when they were 8th seed, but that's basically the big one that I would print and put up.
Oh, nice. So when you were betting hockey, was it just on Pro Line at the time? I know you mentioned after, got more serious into the hockey stuff. When did you stop betting hockey? I know it's been going on for quite some time.
So, basically through 97, 98, that was the only option. And at least for me at the time, I traveled through Europe in 97 and 98. In the summer of 97, I picked up a magazine, GQ, that had an article about a sports book called Intertops. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't wait to get home and open an account. And that was my first offshore account.
Did you win originally in that offshore account?
Absolutely not. I got creamed. I was playing parlays, 14 parlays, and it took a while to get going offshore, but eventually I turned the corner.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit, because most of the stories are, I got creamed, and then there was something that happened where I just figured things out. What was the light bulb moment for you where you turned from a losing bettor into a winning bettor?
Stop betting parlays. It was that simple.
Yeah. You think it was just because you were, because of your past experience, parlays were all you knew, and that's why you went into it that way? Or
pretty much. That was, Pro Line, you're used to it. That's what you're used to doing, and once you learn that hitting 5 out of 6 is not going to win you anything, but if you hit 5 out of 6 straight up, then you're in the plus. That's the eye-opening moment.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have to come to that realization nowadays as well. It's just, I said nowadays again, by the way. Now it's in my head. It's just stuck in my head permanently, the counter. All right, so I know that you've been betting soccer your whole life. Hockey was mixed in there. Soccer is widely known. Spanky recently commented on one of my Pinnacle videos for soccer of like, here we go. I'm sure Rob can beat these $100,000 markets now. I cannot beat the soccer markets. Nowhere near full limits. For you, you've had success betting soccer over a very large period of time. What do you attribute to that success to? And what is your typical betting strategy? Are you a numbers guy? Do you originate? How close to post have you bet over the course of your life? Walk me through just your soccer betting as a whole.
Okay, so there's stages to that. I was lucky enough to get in hired, I guess, by a European group back in 2003, 2004, something along those lines. Basically, they saw me on one of the posting forums. They asked for my opinion. This happened to hit 10 out of 11 or something ridiculous like that. And the guy invited me to fly to Manchester to meet with him. And basically that started a chapter in my life that I always look back on fondly, and I've learned a lot. And
sorry to cut you off. You ever wonder what would have happened to you if you just went 5 for 11 on that day? How your life would have been different?
I have not look at it that way, but my life would have been much different.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. That someone found you through a forum. I mean, that's the way it was back in the day, though. I mean, even 10 plus years ago, early 2010s, people were finding each other in forums still at that point. So anyway, sorry to interrupt. You can continue on there.
So they took me on board, and I did some handicapping, some game previews, and a lot of back-end data management. And that continued for about 15 years. It gave me an opportunity to work with some amazing people, without name dropping, a certain Star Lizard owner. He was big into MLS, shockingly, before he got married. So I would write MLS previews for the group, and once in a while, Saturday morning, I get a call and asking for some clarification about a certain bet or something, certain suggestion.
I'm very fascinated by that. When you say that you were writing previews for the group. So when we hear of groups like Star Lizard, typically what you hear and what's reported by other people is that, well, it's just this group of mathematicians, right? They got like 50 plus quants that are working. They're analyzing this data. They're projecting games. From what I understand, it sounds like things were a little bit different, and maybe they were willing to trust your subjective handicap of a game. Is that correct?
I think it's a little more than just the quants, because those quants need information. And from back in the day, I know that they had at least 3 or 4 sources per league of information. So they would get probable lineups from 4 people, and then they would put those through their systems and decide what was accurate, what wasn't. And if you hit 90% on your lineups, you're doing pretty good, and they trust your opinion as well.
Got it.
So essentially, just predicting lineups more than actually opinion on the game.
Well, both, because I would provide my numbers along with all the information that I could gather on the games ahead of time, basically 12 to 24 hours before the game, and then they would do their thing on Sunday or Saturday, whenever the games took place. And one thing that you will notice on especially on the MLS markets is that the market moves as soon as the game goes live, because that's when the limits go up, and that's when the big boys hit them.
When you say as soon as the game goes live, what do you mean by that? You mean like as soon as it posts, and then you're saying live betting limits are
the live market, in-game market.
Got it. Yeah. No, I've noticed that as well. So you're saying that's basically a result of the lineups just being 100% crystallized, final, no funny business, no pullouts. All right, here we go.
This is who's playing.
This is who's playing, and now let's actually start taking some real money on this.
Limits are up, game on. Let's bet it.
Is it easier? I mean, I guess we can kind of transition here. So you were also like a trader for a prominent offshore book, primarily in the soccer division.
100% soccer.
100% soccer. Okay, so you're 100% soccer trader. Break that down for us. Were you trading pre-match or live or combo of both?
Pre-match only.
Pre-match only. Okay, so how much different was then pre-match versus live in your opinion?
It's a different market. It's different players, and basically you have your opening number. You're working from that based on the information you have, and you're adjusting based on the money that comes in. Live, you have to react to time elapsed. You have to react to substitutions, current score, things of that nature. Did
you yourself have information sources on like lineups or who do you think was going to play, or were you just solely relying on the bettors and the grading profiles of the bettors and moving the lines based on that?
Well, you try to cultivate contacts as much as you can and get information. You trade with other traders as well, and you share as much information to protect you from getting scalped.
Got it. I have a couple questions. I guess as a pre-match soccer trader, you're obviously dealing in some pretty high limit markets. Even though we did mention, for MLS, for example, live betting would be a bigger market, but for a lot of those other markets, we look at Pinnacle, for example, our show sponsor, like they're dealing potentially on some of the major sports, major leagues. 100K per click, might move a penny if you hit it. Like these are big time limits. When you're at that level, how much do you care about moving your number to be into the consensus market range. Like if you're sticking out and let's say you're in arbitrage or you're in arbitrage with Pinnacle, like people can make a decent amount of money even if it's only a couple pennies given the actual liquidity on that. So how much did you actually care about keeping your number? Did you have an odd screen open? What were you doing there?
So first of all, you care who bets it, not how much they bet it. And then you want to be in the market. Like we had a situation during the last Euros where a certain better got really, really hot and he was price insensitive. So he would bet it. We knew he'd come again. So we'd move it 5-10 cents and he kept betting limit bets up to, 8-10 times. You might end up out of market and then you have people just jumping on the other side and then scalping with other shops. So you want to avoid that at all costs. But when the exposure racks up, you have to answer to stakeholders, and you have a tight line. You have to walk a tightrope there.
So, personal question for you that I would like to know. So, how many people are actually at the book that you were working with? How many people actually beat pre-match soccer? Let's say for EPL.
EPL is a big volume league. You'd have maybe 5% of the people beat it. 5%
of the people who bet it would beat it?
Yeah.
Pre-match. At the openers or at like full limit?
Overall, I think the volume for EPL is mostly day off because that's when the limits get big enough for that. You have a lot of people that come in early, and if they're respected, then you keep that in mind as you move through the week.
And how would that differ from, let's say, a lower league, but still a prominent league, for example, something like MLS?
MLS is also game day. You have certain people that hit the opener, and those usually whoever hits the opener, you have to respect. And as you move through the week, that side might keep getting hit. The issue with MLS is that it's not a league you can really balance. EPL, you move it a couple of cents and you're going to balance it, no problem. But MLS, the money is just going to come on one side.
Got it. So would you say that's much easier to beat MLS then? Did more people beat MLS?
For me, it is.
For you, it is. Okay, so now we're talking.
But we could assume that probably for most people it is.
Yeah.
If not that you want to say like that one bettor's opinion is like, but generally speaking,
I honestly want to probe a little more on this. I think it's an interesting discussion that a lot of people who are listening will enjoy. Is the sentiment in the gambling Twitter sphere and in the market right now is that like EPL and whatever you want to call it, like Champions League, Bundesliga, like League One, like all of those leagues, given the limits, I don't want to. I'm not the guy who says this, but people do say those leagues are unbeatable. Like
especially on game day, like it's
full
the
limit.
same thing as beating NFL on a Sunday, basically.
Yes, but people even go a step further with that. Like people say EPL is even way harder to beat than, let's say, NFL or NBA or anything like that. So talking to you now, you're saying at the book you were consulting with around 5% people beat it. At post, so at full limits, how many people do you think beat it? And again, I know we asked this already. What percentage, if at all?
Not very many. A lot less than 5%. So let's say 1 to 2%.
1-2%. So that's still a decent sample. Like I'd still consider that a beatable market.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and Adrian can speak to this more, but there's a lot of soccer betting groups out there that are looking for a lot of volume, and they'll bet across the board, obviously with it, making sure that the prices are within range. There's people that devote a ton of resources to beating soccer. They're probably going to beat soccer. Let's call it for what it is, but you got groups of 20, 30, 50 people working together to beat a sport. Chances are they're probably going to beat it. It's a massive startup cost and like continuous cost, but the likelihood that you can take that data and do enough with it that's better than the rest of the population who there's people working alone. I mean, there's probably 1% of the groups that are beating, like the biggest groups are beating it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, for you, Adrian, what would you say? So working at that sports book, seeing all the bets come in on the ticker for soccer, seeing that market, what did that tell you as a bettor? Like, did that make you basically have more confidence that it was easier to win, harder to win? Like, how did that change going from bettor to that, and then obviously now back to bettor?
So just a quick differentiation. When you say post, I usually refer to that as the last hour once the lineups come out. So basically the last hour, your limits are high, and you're taking on newcomers. There's information there depending on who bets it as well. But there's going to be whales that are betting it just because they have to bet it. It's a Monday night EPL game. They have to have a little bit of action, and a little bit of action for them means a lot more for others. But it is what it is. The money's going to roll in on those marquee games that are one-offs. The people that you've tracked and you're focused on, when you see it, you know that they're betting it for a reason. You might not know what that reason is. You have the lineups, but maybe they know something about tactics. They know somebody's going to come on and only play the last 15. Like if Kevin De Bruyne is not starting for Man City, it's really helpful information to know if he's going to play at all or not, right? So they might have that information or they might not have it. If they're going to play it as soon as he's announced off the bench, the price might not be what they want it to be. So they take advantage of the pregame market, right? Especially if there's a dip because he's not starting.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. For those who don't listen, there's a lot of people watching this who understand soccer. Kevin De Bruyne, one of the best midfielders of our generation, but it's no different than like if you were watching a baseball game and Shohei Ohtani's going to come in the fifth inning for a game. It's going to have some sort of tangible impact on the game. Whereas if it's a rest day and he rests the entire game, makes a little bit of a difference. So that makes a lot of sense. Adrian, I have the Pinnacle soccer up in front of me right now. There's 451 matches that are currently available to bet on soccer. Argentina Liga Pro, Brazil, Brasileiro Women, Brazil Serie A, China Super League, Copa America, Ecuador Serie B. You know where I'm going with this. There's a million soccer leagues that are available to bet.
Every day.
I'm curious your perspective on that as a trader, because to me this seems like nearly impossible to be able to focus on everything that's going on at once. So how much outside help do you have when trading these other smaller soccer leagues? And then secondly, as a bettor, do you focus on specific leagues or teams, or are you willing to go pretty much anywhere your mind might take you? If you can go through that breadth of offering, both from a trader and from a betting side.
Yeah, so as a trader, you're fighting an uphill battle. You're offering all these markets, and the player only has to bet one, right? So, advantage player, they can focus on one league, focus on a single team if they choose to, and they can bet it or they can pass. You have to take that bet and try to balance it off. And you're not going to win every game on a slate of 9 games. If you're winning 5, you've done your job. So it's a matter of looking at it as a whole and trying to balance as much as you can and plug the holes when they happen. Because you gotta have information on a Argentina league where somebody's not starting and you don't know it, but you see it on the ticker and it's like time to react.
Does from a trading side, the closing line value that a bettor gets is going to affect their profiling, correct?
Of course, yes.
Does that change depending on the league? So, for example, like if you see someone that's obliterating like Bolivian soccer, basically, and consistently getting closing line prices that are through the roof. First of all, actually, does the league itself, forget about the closing line, does the league itself that people are betting affect the way that they are going to be profiled when a trader goes through their account?
It does, because it's based on the limit for that league, right? If it's a high-profile league, you pay more attention to it. If it's a lower-profile league, you're trying to deal with it, and you make a note of it and see how they're doing. So if you have a player that's winning in one league and losing in another, you talk to marketing and say, hey, push that league to them, the one they're losing.
Like that.
Got it. Did you
targeted emails, right?
Of course, classic.
So at the book you were at, I know historically they haven't limited any bettors to 0 or anything like that, or shown anyone the boot. But did you offer like dynamic limits for certain customers, and was it your responsibility to profile that?
So without getting into my non-disclosure agreement, yes, there's profiles and there's different limits for different players based on their ability.
Understood. Okay, what else we got here? So maybe we'll shift back to betting here because I am interested in that. So
back to what Rob asked about the flow of the week.
Sorry, go ahead.
Before it slips out of mind. So it's a 7-day process. Most of the games take place Saturday, Sunday, but you also have midweek leagues playing. So what I try to do is I try to do my pricing the day before they play for the following week. That way I avoid last minute bias and things of that nature. I do my pricing and then I try to get bets in early. So as soon as the market opens for the next set of games, I'm there first. Betting in Asia gives me a little bit of an edge over not having to wait for all the markets to open. And then I spend Tuesday, Wednesday just kind of reviewing the information. I look at the box scores, watch some videos, summaries of games for the leagues that I follow. If there's a midweek round in Champions League and Copa Libertadores and things of that nature, I focus on that a little bit more. By Thursday, Friday, I revisit because the limits have gone up. I revisit, see where the market has moved on the games that I want to bet or I already bet, and maybe add a little. And then I don't do a lot of betting on game day. Mostly once the lineups come out, I have a look and maybe add a little bit more on things, or if I have something circled, then things come into focus, then I take a bet there as well.
How do you navigate all of the like news and misinformation, let's say, in soccer? So just background story myself. When I was 15 years old, I had a job with not a consulting job.
You consulted. Here you go.
It wasn't a consulting.
Bang, put it in.
I
that counts.
A part-time job with a internet news company, and I used to write soccer. Here was the scope of my job: scour the internet for a soccer rumor, rewrite it into a short paragraph, and turn it into news. So basically, I was like a gossip guy that was making stuff up on the internet. Okay,
so not much changed from today.
So like a player would leave a game with an injury, and the coach might say he's going to be reevaluated, and I would take that and I would turn it into things are not looking good. Could see an extended absence for this player. And that would then be out on the internet. Very prominent site, by the way, which I won't name right now, but very prominent site. And that would just became news. I'm ashamed of this, by the way. Like, very ashamed. I was 15 years old. I didn't know any better. Like, bear with me.
Was it like a job internship, or was it just like part-time remote?
I had 10 hours a week, part-time remote, just constructing soccer rumors.
God, that's unbelievable.
Yes.
So you're the original Fabrizio.
Yeah, Fabrizio Romano. I thought, isn't that guy pretty good? There's worse than him. Sky Sports got to be the worst.
He's good, but he gets scoops, and then he gets paid for scoops. So
yes. So
lately,
I want to know how you stay on top of soccer news, because to me this seems like an inherent challenge with betting the sport. I'm researching for a Euro Copa America fantasy player pool right now. I type in a player's name in Google to see if they're injured or not. I get a ton of different sources, all of which are saying different things. How do you navigate that on a daily basis?
Just don't try to ChatGPT yet. Because allegedly France is still the defending Euro and World Cup champion.
No, if I put that in right now, they're disrespecting
no,
the
don't
like that.
No more ChatGPT on the pod. No more.
Try it.
Too much.
On your own time. So yeah, it's a challenge because you don't know what's real, you don't know what's been baked in the line, and like I said before, you try to culture a network of contacts and forums and Twitter feeds and build your I don't even know what they're called in Twitter anymore, but basically collect as much information. Lists, that's the one. Collect as much information as you can. Try to filter it. I'm a bit of a loner, so I have to rely mostly on my opinion on news and information. So I tend to trust numbers a lot more than news.
Okay.
But the last pass before the lineups come out, you want to have an opinion of what the lineup's going to be before it's announced and know how to react if there's any changes to that.
All right. When you say you tend to trust numbers a lot more than news, in soccer, very similar to hockey, actually, there's been an expected goals movement in recent years. I love this stuff. I follow a bunch of accounts that are going to tell me what the expected goals of a game are at halftime and the full time. I like to see where things differ from one another. But I am aware that it's an imperfect metric. Like, it's sometimes I'll watch a game, I'll look at the expected goals, I'll be like, oh, this doesn't really match up all that well. I'm curious, when you say that you rely on numbers in soccer a little bit more, what specifically you mean by that? And in particular, with the expected goal stuff nowadays, do you put any emphasis on the expected goals relative to the actual?
Absolutely. So for people that know expected goals, they know what it is. For people that don't know, this is probably a good place to start.
Okay. Yeah. There we go.
The expected goals philosophy.
Yep. So it's a good read. It doesn't go into too much in-depth stuff, but it helps to get the basics of it. Like you said, it's an imperfect stat, but the people I worked with back in the day, they had a similar thing that they used, and it came in handy for 10, 15 years. Basically, we would go through the box scores and come up with the correct score. That's what we used. And, use that instead of the actual score in your modeling and see where it takes you. And it was a little bit more accurate than using actual scores.
Yeah, I think that's a principle that's applied across all sports nowadays, where people just do like deep dive box score analysis and say, this is what the score of the game should have been based off the way it played out, like kind of stripping out a lot of the luck factors and stuff like that. Are there any specific websites or apps or like tools that you use on a daily basis that an average soccer bettor or someone who's looking to get into the sport might be able to check out?
So I know the sites I use daily: SofaScore for results and player scores, Transfer Market for, rosters, injuries, things of that nature, and then Odds Portal and Odds Checker for line movement. I collect data and manage it myself. I'm a database administrator from Football Ref, and also odds from the Odds API.
All right, very cool. See, a lot of people think news is enough to give you an edge on sports, and in certain ways it is.
There's levels of edge.
There's levels to edge, but I've always believed that news alone, you need to at least put that in with something else. So like, you have to, if you're following the line for the entire day for a game, and then that news is not baked in, and then there you go, like now it is, bam, you're going to have an edge. But a lot of times with like injuries and lineups and stuff like that, you might see a line trickle a little bit every single day. And just for you, Adrian, let's say you see a soccer game and one player is, let's say, 50-50 to play, key player in MLS. I don't really know too many key players, but let's say a key player on Toronto FC, and you see the lines trickling towards Toronto FC the entire day, meaning you're thinking now, okay, this player might be ruled in. If he gets then ruled in after that point, how do you think the market then reacts to that? Like, a lot of times people might just go in and then, hammer Toronto FC because they see this player got in, but not necessarily realize that line has actually been trickling and maybe that news had leaked to market. How are you like combating this, factoring this in? Does this play into your handicap at all?
So I think MLS is a bit of a unicorn in that facet, because the news will come out and the line will not move. Be it because the limits are too low early in the week or people are uncertain about certain news. It does not move until game day. So there's an opportunity for smaller players that do not need to bet limits to take advantage of those early in the week and have position themselves really well versus closing line. The MLS has been kind of a black box because they did not release a lot of injury information. They started putting out a report this year on Friday nights or Saturday for the Sunday games, and it helps a little bit. But that information is out there if you're willing to put in the time to find it before it's released. So as with all other facets, if you put in the work, you're going to be rewarded with good value.
When it comes, so let's say my same question, but you take it for like EPL, like a top player, like for example, you mentioned like Kevin De Bruyne. So let's say he's that same scenario. Do you feel like sometimes like this info is already known by the market or certain people in the market, even as a trader? Like, how did that come into play for you when someone was like when a good player is a true 50-50?
You're never going to be the first one to have that information. So the line's probably already been hit before the information gets to you. Like, I'll give you an example. Not a lot of people speak French, and I follow the two French leagues. I struggle with French, but I can read it. I can Google Translate. I can work my way around it. Game day limits start at midnight. I read the Saturday version of L'Equipe, that's a pretty good job of lineups and who's in, who's out. It shows up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. You have a little bit of a window before the European market kind of digests that. So you have game day limits, all the information, and a little bit of a window to take your pick. It's because not everybody speaks French. If that was the case for EPL, you would not have that window.
Right.
The line would move right away.
Understood.
So with an Italian-speaking host, you could maybe do the same.
Yeah, listen. I can read Italian and understand it. So maybe we gotta have to talk off air, Adrian, and see if I could be of some service to you in some way. I don't bet a lot of. I've never bet a lot of soccer, just as recreationally, and I don't really know exactly why. I think maybe I've just been. What are you laughing at?
No, just I was picturing Rob as a soccer guy on Tele Latino.
TLN or whatever now. Yeah, but back in the day. I don't know. It's something that I've always wanted to get into, but just out of, I think, maybe sheer laziness or honestly possibly fear of just like, why do I want to compete with all these big betting groups? And I think in the last half an hour after talking to you, maybe what I thought the soccer market is actually a lot different than what it actually might be.
Personally, I just don't like soccer. I mean, I'm full transparency. I don't love the sport as like a fan, and the reason is basically the reason why there's edges. Like too many leagues, too many things, too many players to follow here and there. Like I could see myself being a fan of like one specific league, but it's just too much.
Dude, Saturday.
What's going on?
Saturday, you're gonna be on College Street rocking your Missouri jersey.
I gotta get one. I get the jersey for every Euro Cup. So I'm owed. I gotta get this jersey for every 4 years. Italy. I get the Italy jersey every 4 years. Just as a quick update. When I was younger, I used to get it every year, but I don't even wear them.
They don't qualify the World Cups. You only get the Euro version.
I didn't get the last year's World Cup, obviously, for that. And then the previous World Cup, I hadn't gotten either. So then I just said, you know what? I'll get the new jersey for every Euro. But Euro, they won last time, obviously. So
you got the jersey, and I did as well.
Yeah, I got a couple Euro champ. It's weird. It says Euro 2020, but it was in 2021. Yeah. And then so some of the stuff says like 2021 on the back, like the date. And then it says Euro 2020. It's a little champs. It is what it is.
I will say we've veered here for a second, but and completely irrelevant. I just have to get this in now that he's been talking about it. The new Italy jerseys that they've put together, I believe the new sponsor is Adidas, are horrendous. They've tried to incorporate like the colors of the flag into the jersey, so there's some green, white, and red. It doesn't work. Bad jerseys.
I'm looking at it right now. It is what it is. I'll just get the blue one.
It's a down here. Don't get the white one.
The white one is not. It's not great, but
if you want to get a good jersey, get in touch with the people that do the Nigeria jerseys.
Why is that?
I've seen those. They
have the best designs all the time.
Yeah.
You want to know an unreal jersey, this is one of my regrets is, I'll save this for plus EV, minus EV for this week. I got to write this down.
You're going to save it.
This is saved for this episode. Stay tuned later in the episode. I got a great take on jerseys. All right, let's get back to it. So we digress.
ESPN, like, talk about guys who are on top of it in terms of SEO. They published a Euro 2024 kit ranking today, which teams have the best jerseys. I think Italy's got to be pretty low on this list. I'm just curious who has the best. They put Italy as number 3. You can throw this one right in the garbage. Right in the garbage.
So you're saying that article, no good?
No good. Germany number 1 with the new Adidas. I do like the Germany ones, by the way. Anyways, completely disregard. But might as well talk about Euro now that it's coming up. So, Euro.
I'm going to need a second if we're going to move there. Gear change.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, look at this. Off comes the Pinnacle sweater.
On comes
was that Romania?
Yep.
Yeah.
The Romanian jersey.
Yes.
Romania is in it this year.
Yes.
How do you like their chances?
They have no chance.
Zero chance.
Never say never. There's a
Greece. We go back to Greece.
Exactly. We go back to Greece.
What were they odds?
50 to 1.
50 to 1? Wow. Okay, I'm pulling up right now. Pinnacle Sportsbook. Romania is plus 20,000. No good. No good. 200 to 1.
200 to 1.
So I've got the odds up for futures. Obviously, with the Euro, there's a ton of ways to attack it. You have obviously all the futures like to win, the group stages, things like that. There's obviously the player stuff. And then now in today's day, obviously you have a lot more alternate markets for these games. So you can bet players, you can bet total corners, fouls, things like that, cards. Are you going to be betting the Euro Cup at all? And how are you going to be betting it?
There's nothing on aside from MLS going at the same time. Well, Euro and Copa America, so you kind of have to.
And so what's the edge there? Are you like, I assume you're not going to be like originating these, or are you going to try to, based on news-based stuff?
Pretty much Newsday. Tried to take some leads early on, but the market's not big enough. Now they're pretty set, and everything that happens from now on out, it's going to be based on lineup. So if you have a good sources, you can bet it 2-3 days before, and there will be some changes. But otherwise, you basically stuck with game day.
It appears the limits are already decently high.
Yeah.
I know these are going to raise for sure. But
these matches have been known for months now.
As of today, you
6
have
months.
spread limits are 10K here. You have the three-way markets like 7K. So like they're going to obviously raise, for sure. But it's not nothing right now. I'm referencing Pinnacle. Pinnacle limits right now. Other places may be larger or smaller. In regards to the tournament, one thing I did want to ask, for anyone who just wants a fun sweat on the Euro tournament, maybe a break-even play, can you give us a couple teams, like a couple good bets, like who you high on, who you low on right now?
So start with low. England, it's not coming home.
Producer Zach's going nuts. You bet him already?
No, that's
Zach, are you of English heritage?
Yes.
How did I not know that?
How is this guy going nuts?
My apologies then.
Zach,
Football's coming home.
Did I know you in 2021?
Yeah, what
just
is
to think
on?
of me celebrating the Italy win against England in 2021, and Zach is just like,
I did not know he was of English
but
heritage.
I was working landscaping at the time, and I was working with a guy named Ezio. I'm not going to say his last name, but very Italian. And he wore his Italian hat every day, Italian colored sunglasses, his Italian football shirt. It was tough. It was tough.
That was a tough one.
So low on England, I guess, relative to market. So you wouldn't be hammering them at plus 375 to win the Euro.
I'd need at least 550.
At least 550. So what would you play for a no price? That's maybe find some value there. Would you play minus 450 no?
400 minus 400.
400 no as a value there. Okay, who you high on?
So I'm gonna piss some more people off and say I'm not high on Italy.
That's okay.
I think it's a little early. They're kind of in between generations.
I agree.
By the time the World Cup or the next Euro rolls around, they'll have some more talent come through, but not sold on them. I think the best team at the Euros is probably France. Depth wise, quality wise, they have a lot of ways to play and get results against any of the bigger teams. I don't know if the price is right or not. I wouldn't play at plus 400, plus 450. But I have a couple of long shots that I would take. I would take Switzerland plus 5,000 or more. You can probably get 65, 67,
68 right now at Pinnacle.
68-13.
I would play that. I would play that for a fun bet. I mean, they didn't have the greatest of qualifying, but they didn't look like they cared because they were in a group that they could cruise through. And they showed at the Euro that they have a lot of talent, and they know how to play the bigger teams, and they have the ability to change systems to combat whatever the other team throws at them.
I believe they lost to Spain in penalties, correct? At the last Euro?
They beat France on penalties, and they did lose. I can't remember.
Because I think they lost to Spain on penalties, then Spain lost to Italy on penalties. There was lots of penalties last tournament. Lots of penalties.
Guys, if you shop around on the Swiss, you can find 75. You find some pretty decent value.
Yeah, but it depends because this is going to come out on Thursday, and by that time, Johnny's going to.
No, Rob, I'm not playing these. I don't play. No, there's no way.
He doesn't play futures, so it won't be.
I don't play futures. The only no. This, by the way, for everyone, I don't count this as a future. You play it over in a month, that's fine. But if I do play it, I would only bet on the homer, Italy plus 1600. Take a shot. I'm not into bet on the Swiss for a break-even bet.
Swiss is one with some good prices out there, and you said you had potentially another dark horse.
The other one would be Denmark, 40-1 or better.
Oh, Pinnacle 50 right now.
I had I'm still bitter from the last Euro. I had them, and the incident with the 2 balls on the field in the semi against England still drives me nuts. Yep. As a ref, I can't accept that.
Yeah, that was a tough break. Bad break.
I'll send you a link to the video if you guys want to include that.
We can. We actually will include it in the description down below.
What happened? 2 balls came on the field?
There was a ball that was thrown onto the field, and the game ball kind of passed 2 meters away from that ball, and the referee didn't stop the play.
Really? So what? Someone
and
like
then
a fan threw it on?
It led to a penalty in the extra time.
Oh, no good. Hidden edges, man. I'm all for the hidden edges, though.
It was at Wembley. It was in England, that match. So, I mean, a little bit of a fan edge. I don't know if
home cooking.
If Tony Bloom is pricing that into the models as accurately, maybe a bigger home edge for England at Wembley. I would be.
Well, this one's in Germany. So.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So Germany this time around. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Germany. Fabian Suma, a good friend of mine, part of the Hammer Betting Network here, seems to really like their chances. He says they might be a little bit underrated this time around.
Yeah, if you asked me a year ago, Germany was in the dumpsters, but the coaching change has done wonders for them. Also, at the club level in Europe, you had obviously Leverkusen with the amazing run to win the Bundesliga, but also getting to the final in the Europa League, Bayern in the semis of the Champions League, and Dortmund getting to the final as well. So it was a good season for the Germans to kind of get their act together. And I think under Nagelsmann, they will do well, especially at home.
So a lot of people are going to be focused on the Euros because they start on Friday, the 14th.
Tomorrow,
the 14th. There is also Copa America happening at the same time, which is going to feature North American squads again, including Canada, and it's being played in the U.S.
Pause, please.
Yep.
No way. No way. The Canada jersey, the triple.
I can't
This is our most prepared guest we've ever had. Wow.
Incredible. Okay, so Canada in a very tough group. Argentina, Chile, Peru.
Not looking great, Canada.
They opened the tournament against Argentina. Would hope for, a 0-0. We would take that in a heartbeat. Obviously, a little bit more top-heavy, Copa America. Do you see anyone other than Argentina or Brazil that is a realistic contender for this tournament?
Not the Americans. I'm not a fan of Greg. I don't think he can coach, but he's got a talented team. He just can't manage it. I think Colombia and Uruguay are capable of upsetting one of the big two in Copa. There's a lot of talent, and they're a bit underrated. I mean, everybody's on the Messi train, and Brazil is Brazil. So if you're looking for value, one of those two might be the way to go.
Yeah, I'm on the Messi train too. I put up the Leo Messi poster back
from
here
World Cup.
From World Cup. Johnny's not a big soccer guy. Didn't really want it up in the
Listen,
background.
I don't mind soccer. I'm just, if it's like one tournament, I think it's feasible to actually follow. It's just there's actually so many leagues.
Yeah, it's tough.
They don't even like cross over, except Champions League. By the way, something happens where nobody knows what's going on, and then one day you just hear from one guy, oh, Champions League finals on today. And then it's like, oh, yeah, I guess so. I guess on today. I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but that's literally always how it goes every time.
For you, though, because you don't follow soccer closely.
But you just hear about it. I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't follow soccer listening where you had no idea what's going on. You don't even know if soccer's being played right now. And then someone's like, oh, Champions League finals tonight or today or tomorrow. And you're like, oh, who's in it? And then they just list out teams you know of, but they'll be like, oh, it's Barcelona versus Inter Milan. You're like, oh, okay.
I'm gonna blow your mind right now. The new Champions League season starts in 2 weeks.
Really?
And
during the Euros.
Did they win though or no? Did someone already win?
So Real Madrid won.
They won both games?
There's only one. It's one final.
There's one game.
Yeah, there's no two legs in the finals. It's just one leg.
It's over already.
Yes, but now the Champions League that starts up in a couple weeks is going to be like qualifiers from the lowest European leagues.
To qualify
the ones not in the Euros.
Correct. Teams
the ones you want to bet on, right? The niche leagues.
That's the ones, actually.
But no, even these tourneys though, like the World Cup, like Italy didn't qualify last year.
Yeah.
But yet they would have been, if they did qualify, would have been like whatever, the 6th favorite. How does this make sense?
10th or something like
10th,
that. But yeah,
whatever it would have been.
I know. But you have to play your way in. That's the end of the day.
But how do they not qualify? Like, what are these guys doing?
They stink, man. What do you want to do? It's not the golden
was
age
it
of
they
Italian
weren't they weren't
football.
trying? Like, was it they weren't trying? They weren't putting the right players out there. Like they wouldn't put in their best players.
Let's throw it over to Adrian. I mean, I watched the games and they stink. They couldn't do anything. They're a terrible team. I don't know what else to say.
They gave up a 90th minute equalizer in Macedonia.
Yeah.
So instead of playing Portugal for a spot in, they went home.
Yeah. They would have had to be, after they beat North Macedonia, or if they had beat North Macedonia, they still would have had to play Portugal.
And if they lost to Portugal, they would have been. So then how are they even close? They weren't even close.
I know. They didn't win their group, which...
Well,
Portugal's like the 5th favorite for the Euro. How are Italy and Portugal both not going to make it to the World Cup? There's so many teams there.
So Italy was like a minute away from winning their group, but they gave up an equalizer to Serbia, I believe.
They did,
so
and
they finished second in the group.
In that game, Jorginho also missed a penalty, I believe, to put Italy up 2-0. This was back in the days of the old betstamp office.
That's why they play the games, I guess.
That's why they play the games.
That's why they play the games.
That's why they play the games. So Copa America, Uruguay and Colombia have a chance. You wouldn't go anywhere further down the list. What do you think about 40% of our audience is Canadian here? What do you think about Canada's chances?
If you asked me a week ago, I would have said no chance. But that draw against France kind of gives you a little bit of hope. We have a new manager. It's an opportunity to prepare for 2026 and hosting the World Cup. Maybe they squeeze a draw against Chile, and maybe they can win the last game. I don't think they get out of their group, but it's a good opportunity to play against big teams and be on a big stage and see what it's like. And it's preparation. And with a new manager in place, you can't ask for more than that, the opportunity to play against big teams.
Fair enough. I'm looking forward to it. I'm enjoying watching Canada's games in international soccer tournaments, especially when they railroad Belgium for an entire half and then lose the game 3-0 because it's horrible. Wheels fall off. But it was only one.
It was only one against Belgium.
It was 1-0. Who did it? Yeah,
Croatia.
Didn't they miss a penalty?
Yeah,
that was the peak.
Davies missed a penalty like 6 minutes into that game. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I believe you were there. Were you there
for the Croatia game?
Okay, so you got the
next one.
Yeah, that was.
I saw the goal and then I saw the massacre.
Yes, yeah, that was a challenging one. Before we get on to the personal reflections here at the end of the show, if a casual bettor wants to bet either of these tournaments, Copa America, Euro 2024, what would be the best way that you would suggest they approach it to maximize their entertainment value and also give themselves the best chance to win?
It has to be auxiliary markets, derivatives, correct score, first team to score, player to score. Those markets are not, well, at some books they're synced with the game price. At some books they're managed independently. So you have to find which model you want to bet. And even though they're higher juice, attack smaller markets and, make them your own.
Attack smaller markets, make them your own. I love that. Just as a follow-up to that, out of curiosity, you tell me whether or not this strategy may or may not work in soccer, because I'm not familiar enough with the market to know. But you talked about how about an hour before every game, you get the lineups. The whole main markets are going to steam now because all these big groups are pricing. In these secondary markets, do they move as fast? Like, for example, say you get a surprise striker playing for one team. Would you have enough time to go to the anytime goal scorer market and bet that player? Or do those
Absolutely
move? You do?
Yeah, but you got to be first, right? Because as soon as somebody else gets to it, the price is going to change.
Well, as Ricky Bobby's, dad never said, Ricky Bobby did say, if you're not first, you're last.
There you go. Our so here we have these official circles off picks. dating back to our record. I think we're up 72 units. Last week's guest actually gave out a long shot, Yannick Sinner, to win the French Open. Recorded 2 weeks ago. Episode came out. He was still in it. He was on to the semifinals. So the episode aired. Hopefully no one bet that. He did lose, well, unfortunately, to Carlos Alcaraz. But it is what it is. But now, that brought our record down just a unit, I think. But no worries, because we have here two absolute bangers. It was, what was it exactly? Switzerland
and Denmark.
Switzerland and Denmark to win the Euros, and then it was, what was it? Who was to win the?
He said Colombia and Uruguay have a shot.
Uruguay have a shot, but you know what? No, we're not going to count those. Those are just leans. We'll count them.
I would bet Colombia at 13-1 or better.
13-1. We're leaning Colombia.
We're betting Colombia. Yeah. We're clicking.
We're clicking. If it wins, we'll include it in the record. If not,
no, include it right away.
Okay, no,
that's not how the best content creators out there do it, Adrian. They include it in the record if it wins. If the lean wins, it gets included as a win. But if
I'm an old school guy, you bet it.
Listen,
you track it.
I'm with you. Leans don't pay the mortgage, you know.
Okay. You want to go last? Yeah, closing questions.
Personal reflections.
Personal reflections.
That's how I name them in the rundown.
Is this now the new thing?
Well, it's the same questions. They're just personal reflections.
Yeah, Rob's been making this podcast too corporate recently. It used to just be a fun podcast. Now everything's too corporate here. Listen, Adrian, we appreciate you coming on. I think it was a great episode.
Thanks
a lot to
me.
learn, especially we don't really have too many soccer guests on this podcast. So it's great to have more of an insight into the market. So you've listened before. We do a plus EV and a minus EV. So it doesn't have to be sports betting related, but give us your plus EV, minus EV moves of the week.
Okay, I'll start with the minus EV. Don't go to Costco on the weekend.
Don't go to Costco on the weekend. That's a plus
It's
EV.
massive. It's don't go.
Okay, so then it's a plus EV. Minus EV is going to Costco on the weekend.
Sorry.
No problem.
I'll make it the negative.
He's actually saying don't go to Costco on the weekend, which is some of the most sound advice we've ever had on this show. I've experienced that a few times.
Not
As
a big
parent
cost
with the busy weekends. All the games are playing the weekends. I cannot be there and deal with it. So don't do it. Our
2 weeks ago's guest Matt, Plus EV Analytics, spoke about the grocery delivery. I'm a big fan of grocery delivery as well, so that's I'm spot on there. You won't catch me at Costco on a Sunday during NFL, that's for sure.
Yeah, I usually just send my parents if I need something on the weekend. They're going anyways, so why am I going to set foot in the store? Although, plus
help them out.
You know what? I thought about this a lot in life. Apologies if I come off as disrespectful in any way or whatever. I've thought about if I was homeless in life. If I didn't have a home, I had very little money to my name, I would save up, get myself a Costco membership, and go hammer those free samples every day. Tell me you're not going to find better bang for your buck if you had a rough stretch in life. Maybe you tailed like Book It Trent's picks or something like that, and you just completely eroded your bankroll. You got nothing to do. What does a Costco membership cost now? It's like $70.
Used to be 50.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Might be up to 120.
Yeah. Either way, it's still great value. You get yourself meals every day.
Listen,
am I on the line here?
Personally, I won't comment on this. I don't want to comment on this, but the samples at Costco, honestly, not even good. And that's a hot take. I'll put in.
But it's different if you're hungry. And
I'm not even commenting on that. I'm not saying if you're hungry or whatever. But overall, those samples at Costco, you get. And I'm being honest here, and I haven't been for a while to Costco. I can only assume they've gotten even worse since COVID. But you're averaging about one good sample per 12. And I'd be those are trash foods.
When they break out the Swedish meatballs, though.
But that's what I'm saying. They got one good per 12 samples.
Yeah, whatever.
You go around, it's like some cracker with nothing on it. And they give you
Italian Rob talking about Swedish meatballs. That's a no-no. That's a big no-no.
No. I don't know.
It's got to be Italian meatballs.
Well, of course. I'm just saying that they don't give the Italian meatballs as the samples.
The best
premium product.
Those Swedish meatballs are also terrible. The best sample they have there is a Swedish meatball. That's the best they have to offer. It's a frozen Swedish meatball that they just plopped in a toaster oven. These samples at Costco, unheard of bad.
Out of curiosity, I'm looking for some new content to do on Circles Off here. If you would actually watch me go around to different Costcos and sample the food, please comment down below. I actually think this might be a decent idea going forward.
I know for a fact, I know our audience is going to side with me on this one. If you want to say, oh, those Costco samples are good, maybe nostalgia from when you were a kid, but think about it. There's no way those are good samples. Think about it honestly.
You guys have to go together, make a good show.
Yeah. Honestly,
have you guys seen the TikTok kid though and his dad that go to Costco?
I don't allow TikTok to steal data from me. I don't want that.
It's on Twitter now. It's gone in there too now. Yeah, you got to watch it. People out there watching the Circles Off right now have probably seen it. They already do this, and it's the worst thing of all time. It's the most cringy thing of all time.
Is it because you don't like the creator? Because everyone likes me and Johnny, obviously.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
true.
very different.
That's true.
We have a lot of fans. Only positive comments on our content.
For the most part, we appreciate everybody. By the way, you guys are the
best. True. Even if it's negative, post it down below. I don't really care.
Okay, so but I would largely agree with that move. You know, whatever you want to call it, minus EV move of the week. Going to Costco on a Sunday. That's Johnny approved for sure. Give us, I guess, your positive then. EV move. Positive
is just read as much as you can, have as much information as you can, and that's going to get you far in life.
Another one. Hard to argue with that.
It explains why I've maybe read 5 books total in the last 20 years.
It doesn't have to be a book. It can be a blog.
You know what? That's fair.
Yeah, you're just saying get as much information as you can.
Absorb. You got it. Okay, I like that.
That's fair. Okay, so I can get into mine, the jersey take that I saved from earlier in the episode.
Go for it.
This is just a random regret, but in 2006, Italy won the World Cup. Mm-hmm. It was also in Germany, actually.
Yep.
So maybe they do have a shot.
Yep.
Italy, World Cup, Germany, 2006, they won, okay? At the time, I really wanted to get the Gianluigi Buffon gold goalie jersey. Okay. It's a gold jersey.
This is a joke that you're saying this right. I have that jersey.
I'll buy it off.
My mother and my sister were in Italy for when Italy won the World Cup in 2006, and they brought home that. I have the long sleeve.
What size?
Probably be a medium.
I'll buy it off you. So
I don't know that it's for sale, by the way. But continue your story. Yes.
I really wanted that jersey. Okay. At the time, I was a kid. I had to save money, whatever. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna get the jersey. I didn't get the jersey. Okay. I was wearing a previous older jersey from Euro 2004. So I'm wearing that old jersey. I didn't get the Gianluigi Buffon jersey. They end up winning the World Cup. That's an iconic jersey. Yep. Years later, when I started working, making some money, because I was in grade school at the time, I started making some money. I'm like, you know what? I really wish I had that Buffon jersey. It's such a good jersey. I would wear it. I could wear that out here and there. I went to go rebuy it. And they no longer sell that jersey. You can get variants of the jersey, but you can't get the actual jersey of that one.
Where are you looking?
Go try to buy it.
eBay.
So yes, you can buy a used one off eBay, but you don't know the caliber, you don't know if it's fake, whatever. And a lot of the ones on that also now are crazy expensive. Like you can buy a signed one, for example.
It's good to know, by the way, that the price is going up.
But hear me out, because it's not about can I get that jersey now or whatever. It's not even about like would I spend $500 to get that jersey now. This is the point of it is Plus EV move is when you want to get something that's gonna like be part of a memory or tied to a memory, just get it in that exact moment. There was so much like Raptors championship gitch that I didn't buy that now I'm like, why would I not just buy that jacket, that Raptors 2019 championship jacket at the time? Because you never know if you're going to be able to find that again or find a different one. So the lesson is if your sports team wins a championship, get the merch right away, spend a little bit extra and just grab the best pieces that you have because you're probably going to have those for a long time. And same deal with World Cup, Euro Cup, whatever. If you're a fan of a team, you want to rock the jersey, you're a fan of the country, just grab the jersey. You never know if you're going to be able to get that jersey again. And maybe you paid it $200 and then next year you saw it on a savings rack for $89. Sure, that may happen. That's going to happen. But there's also going to be times where you try to get a jersey or you try to get, like, for example, there's this one Raptors jacket I really wanted. Now I just can't find that anywhere.
Yeah.
It was like the vintage one it was red with white sleeves, like a varsity jacket. Like, try to find me that jacket now. Can't find it.
Tough break, man.
Should have bought that.
This might be Johnny's best take ever on the podcast.
Real tough
Thank
break.
you, Zach.
As proof, in our side circles off chat, I've showed my brother was wearing my
That's
jersey.
the one. That's the jersey.
I do own that one.
I'll put it on screen for
that's
Circles
the
Off.
jersey.
You can put it on if you'd like. But it's me and
the
my
goalie
brother, and
jersey.
he's wearing my Buffon jersey right there. Yeah, that was an absolute banger.
You are currently wearing that is the jersey from a previous one.
Yeah, can't remember exactly which one that was.
Yeah.
I can never outdo the take that I had on last week's show, which was to avoid sharp bread. Appreciate all of you.
Thumbs up on that.
There we go. See?
Baguette.
Yeah. So many people reached out to
sourdough
me.
bread. Yes.
Sharp breads, waste of time, dude. They just cut the top of your mouth. They're tough to bite into. Don't do the sharp bread. I almost feel like just using it again because it was such a big hit. I can never top that. One thing that really bothered me in the last week, which I thought about over time, this is maybe just for my age demographic. I talked to Zach about it, and he says it doesn't happen with his group of friends. But for me, I use Instagram, not a lot, but I've noticed recently that like you got to not follow husband and wife or two spouses. You can't follow both people because especially if they have kids, they just post the exact same shit and you see it over and over and over again. So pick whoever you like better out of the couple, follow one person or just mute the other. Maybe you don't have to unfollow them, but like hide their stories because it's just the same thing. I'm going through these reels and it's like, oh, I'm at this kid's softball game. And then the next one is the exact same picture. Like they just shared it with one another and they both post it to their feed. Do what you want to do. People, like, you don't have to stop posting that. But if you're in your late 30s like I am and all your friends are now married with kids, you just like don't follow them both on Instagram. Sorry if I offended anyone there, but that's my plus EV move of the week. Don't follow them both on Instagram.
Yeah, it hasn't come. That hasn't got to my generation yet, but
dude.
I can presume that's coming. I'm not going to judge that take until next couple of years. You never know.
Yeah, when all your friends are married, it's cool. Like you're like, oh, Marco was at Boyd Park today with the family. Oh, that's cool. That's nice. And then it's like, oh, Christina was also at Boyd Park with the family. It's the exact same 3 pictures that I just saw. Like, why am I doing this to myself? I need to unfollow. I've reached that point. Yes.
Okay, Adrian. Wait, Zach, you got anything?
Yeah, I do actually. Here, I'll pull up quickly. Plus EV is keeping your tires in storage at the auto shop that you get them done. It's cheap, keeps it out of your house, your garage, your storage unit, whatever. It's out of the way. Preferably have one closer to your house or where you're living. Go get it done. In, out, you're in and out of there 20 minutes. You don't have to load the tires and stuff into your car.
This is a winter tire take. Most of people are listening right now being like, look at these guys with their winter tires.
I'm gonna be honest with you right now. I didn't even know that this was an option. Like, call me an idiot or whatever.
Store them at the shop?
Dude, I take them up.
Only at certain places, obviously, but yeah, it's an option.
Oh, I always unload them and bring them down to my basement.
Yep, no.
It's
worst day of the year.
Dude, when my wife tells, I'm like, can I just store them up top in the garage? She's like, no, they're too heavy on the. And I make my wife seem out to be a bad person. She's very nice, but yes, it's a horrible day.
I'll come clean on this. At a previous time in my life when I had a car that I wasn't paying for, like a company paid car. I got the winters on, and I was like, I don't want to change these, and I just left them on all summer. and then it was the first snowfall, and I was back in the office, and the guy's like, oh, I got to go get my winter tires. And I'm like, oh, I just got mine on. Like, I'm good for this year. And I just hadn't changed them from the summer.
The treads have worn thin because you're driving around all summer. They're doing nothing in the snow.
It wasn't on my dime. But and that's a plus EV move for another day.
Yeah, that is a plus EV. That's a good one, Zach, honestly.
Thank you. Minus EV, this one, I think it would probably apply because I'm getting older now and starting to feel it more. But like, I'm playing in a lot of sports leagues, which I do think you should do. But I tried to plan mine out so that they were consecutive. Bad play. I play lacrosse on Sunday night, volleyball Monday night, hockey Tuesday, hockey Wednesday. I was like, oh, if I bank them all, then I have the rest of the time available. No recovery.
Yeah.
There's zero recovery.
Messed up.
Bad move.
No, bro, you got to go Tuesday, Thursday. That's the move.
Yeah, spread it out. Agreed. For sure. Bad move.
Once you get over 50, you play once a week and you hope you recover by the time next week. That's me, Friday nights.
Damn. What do you play, Adrian?
Soccer. I play in the winter. I ref coach and everything else in the summer. Kind of a stupid question.
Nice. Well, it could have been hockey. He's in Quebec. He's in Ottawa. Sorry.
How many times you got to hear this guy say he lives and breathes soccer?
So
why? Because he wore 2 separate soccer jerseys on the show. Is that why?
So I'm a really bad skater, but maybe I can give a plug to First Shift Hockey. I run a program here in Ottawa. Bauer does an amazing job with that, and for new kids in hockey.
First Shift Hockey.
If you're in Ottawa.
Everywhere in Canada.
Oh, everyone in Canada. Sorry. All right, Adrian, final question here. So, I mean, you mentioned you're in your 50s right there, but so this one, you can go back a little bit further if you need, but if you could go back 5 years, talk to a previous version of yourself, what advice would you give?
Regret nothing. Do the things you want to do, and don't regret it. You're going to regret the things you didn't do. So do everything you want to do and live with the consequences.
Well, is there one specific thing that you regretted?
Not really.
Because he's living by the advice.
He lives by his own advice, but it's easier said than done for you. You didn't spend 20 Bitcoin to renovate your basement.
My kids asked me if I had Bitcoin, and I back in the wild days, I had some Bitcoin, and they'd be worth a lot of zeros right now. But
we didn't know
back then. No,
we didn't know. All the search results back in the day when people were sending me Bitcoin were Bitcoin is a scam. Get out of this right away. Never.
Dude, it was $30 at the time.
Damn, Rob renovated his basement for what is just shy of 2 million local currency.
Yeah, it's tough.
We've seen the pictures. It's a nice mansion.
Yeah, it's a nice
when
basement.
The food rolls out.
It's a nice basement. Don't get me wrong. Listen, I enjoy my time watching TV down there.
He's obligated to it.
I have to. I have to spend as much time in there as possible. Some nights I just don't even go up to bed, honestly. I just sleep there to get the maximum value out of it. But yeah, the regret nothing is a little bit easier when you haven't made that mistake in life. It is what it is. Such is life. His name is Adrian. You can follow him on Twitter at DrunkenGoon. Make sure you do. Tweets about soccer, tweets about hockey. Where are you posting your thoughts nowadays on soccer? There's no more Right Angle Sports Discord. We got to get you over into the betstamp one.
There's another Discord that kind of migrated from there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say or not.
I don't know. You know what?
Maybe I'll send an invite.
Those people get very angry about everything, so I wouldn't say, just in case. They might spite you for life. EV Prop Dude is an angry guy. Very angry guy.
He's accepted an invite to come on the show.
Has he?
Yeah, he has. I was just talking to him today. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Is he local?
Quick edit there.
Yeah.
What?
Quick edit. Oh, man. All right, Adrian, thank you very much. Everyone who tuned in, thank you very much. Make sure on your way out the door, if you haven't done so already, smash that like button down below. We got the likes up quite a bit last week. Let's do it again this week. Helps us build momentum here on YouTube. If you're listening in audio form, rate and review 5 stars. This has been another episode of Circles Off right here on the Circles Off YouTube channel, part of the Hammer Betting Network, presented by Pinnacle Sportsbook. We'll see everyone next week.
Thanks for having me.